Today, we're going to peel back the layers on a condition that's so often misunderstood, mainly because, well, you can't see it. We're going to be diving into the real human experience of living with a vestibular disorder, all based on a study that talked directly with patients and their families.
Seriously, just stop and think about that for a second. What if that simple, solid feeling of the ground beneath your feet just disappeared? Not for a moment, but all the time. For millions of people, this isn't some weird thought experiment. It's their daily, exhausting reality.
So, what are these disorders exactly? Basically, they're conditions that mess with your body's internal GPS. You know, that delicate system in your inner ear and brain that controls your balance and tells you where you are in space. Well, for people with these conditions, that system has gone haywire. And trust me, it is so much more than just feeling a little dizzy.
So, how does all this internal chaos actually affect someone's life? Well, the first and most immediate impact is on just everyday stuff. It creates what so many people in the study called a shrinking world.
This quote from a patient really hits on the vicious cycle of it all. They said that these sudden attacks just destroyed their confidence. And the triggers? They can be things we all deal with, like stress or not getting enough sleep. So you get stuck in this constant, draining feedback loop.
And the cognitive toll, it can be absolutely devastating. Here, a family member is talking about an engineer, a job that demands total precision, right? For him, not being able to concentrate isn't just a minor annoyance. It's a direct threat to his entire career, his whole identity.
And this disruption invades the most personal parts of our lives right at home. I mean, these words from a patient are just heartbreaking. The simple act of her son walking around while talking to her becomes this huge challenge. She has, in her words, nothing left in the tank. It strains the most basic interactions between a parent and a child.
So you see, this isn't just about a few tough moments. It's a cascade. Working on a computer screen becomes torture. A busy grocery store can feel completely overwhelming. You're constantly canceling plans last minute. And that, of course, can lead to real isolation, because even your good friends might struggle to understand an illness they literally cannot see.
And that brings us to the next ripple effect, the huge and often unspoken strain that these disorders put on our closest relationships.
You know, relationships become this incredible double-edged sword. On the one hand, you have a family member here talking about that deep commitment, about working as a team, which is such a vital lifeline. But then, on the other hand, a patient explains how the pressure and the personality changes from the disorder actually cause their relationship to break up. The same partnership can be a source of strength, or it can break under the strain.
And the toll on family and caregivers is just immense. This quote reveals that really complex mix of guilt and emotional conflict they feel. It's that feeling of obligation mixed with the pure exhaustion of being on call all the time. And like this person says, it really messes with your head a bit.
So, beyond the daily struggles and the strained relationships, there's an even deeper, more personal battle going on inside. It's this gradual erosion of your own sense of self.
And it seems to happen in stages. First, you lose control over your own body, right? The symptoms are so unpredictable. And that constant fear just chips away at your confidence to do even simple things. That, in turn, leads to a loss of independence because you have to rely more and more on other people. And eventually, all of that leads to this profound loss of identity. You just don't feel like the person you used to be.
Listen to the word this family member uses, grief. That is so powerful. It really shows that this isn't just about being frustrated, it's a genuine mourning. A mourning for the life and the abilities you've lost. It's like grieving for a past version of yourself.
And you hear it directly from the patients, too, that the psychological pain is all tied up in losing that independence and that heavy, awful feeling of being a burden on the people you love.
And in the end, it all comes back to this one simple, powerful phrase that sums up the entire experience for so many. My world was shrinking.
So, where does all this leave us? Well, the research makes it crystal clear that if we really want to understand and treat these disorders, we have to look past just the physical symptoms. We need to see the whole person.
Honestly, this patient says it perfectly. You can't just neatly separate the emotional issues from the physical problems. The dizziness, the anxiety, the loss of confidence, they aren't separate things to be ticked off a list. They are all woven together, part of one single experience, inside one human being.
So, what are the big takeaways here? First, that vestibular disorders are a whole person problem. The impact ripples out from everyday tasks to relationships, all the way to your core identity. That's psychological distress. It's not a side effect. It's baked into the condition itself.
And all of this means that empathy and awareness are absolutely crucial.
And that leaves us with one final question to think about. In a world that so often only pays attention to what it can see, how can we all get better at seeing the whole person and the whole story that's hiding behind an invisible illness?